Okay, here we go. Did you get that figured out? Yeah. You good? Okay. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa. My name is Russ Laguerre. I'm your assistant minister. I'm glad to be here with you today. And can we give some more love to our fabulous band? All right. I'm going to fix my button here. I think I got the wrong one. Connection. Connection is at the heart of the science of mind. Connection with ourselves, connection with others, and connection with the world around us. And our global vision begins by stating that we see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with spirit and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. So by choosing connection, we choose to remember our oneness. And in so doing, we raise our awareness to new and beautiful heights. So whether you're in the room or you're watching online, please know that you are welcome here, where we aspire to foster connection by honoring equity, inclusion, and diversity. Now, I invite you to read out loud with me our mission. The Center for Spiritual Living is a spiritual community that promotes global transformation through personal transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. We are motivated by a compelling global vision that inspires us to bring the gifts of compassion, integrity, and loving kindness to the world through our programs and teaching. Together, we're helping create a world that works for everyone. And we learn to embody this mission through our 5 spiritual practices. And will you please read those out loud with me? Spiritual study, affirmative prayer, meditation, selfless service, spiritual circulation. We would now like to extend a very warm welcome to our first-time visitors. If it is your first time at our center, would you please stand as you're able or raise your hand? We would like to bring you a flower and a welcome packet with some information out of gratitude for you being here today. Oh, Mitzi, we got one on the last row there, all the way down. Keep going. Be sure to keep your hand up so Mitzi can find you. And if you're watching online for the first time, please let us know in the chat. We would love to hear from you. I know that somewhere in the music, meditation, prayer practices, and Reverend Tara's message today, you will find exactly what you need for the next step of your spiritual unfoldment. Please know you are very welcome here. Now, please sit back and relax and enjoy some music before our short time of silent contemplation and prayer.
There is only one life, showing up in so many different ways, in so many different forms. It is a divine essence, easily flowing through each one of those forms. It is a uniter. It is one. It is divine guidance. It is source. It is power. It is whole and complete, no matter how it looks. And I am one of those forms, as is each one of us in this sanctuary and on live stream and in the universe beyond. Each of us gifted by that divine one, by that life, with the gift of humanness, with that divine spark within each of us, uniting us as one whole. Each of us walks around showing the world who we are, who each of us is, making the world a better place for all. I speak a word for this service this morning, that wholeness, that oneness, that calmness and peace that simply flows through each of us as one. Through the word of announcements, through the music, through the message, through the prayer. All is one. And I simply release this word into the law that always acts as it is directed. And together we say, and so it is. Good morning. I'm Peggy Weber. I'm one of the practitioners here. Would you please join me in reading the affirmation on the board behind me? My mind is a center of creative expression within the mind that creates all. And so it is.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Now wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Now read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. Oh, and see another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you it can't be done. outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. And I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then, 'cause everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven second rate, hand me down, but I walk it with a reverent dare, 'cause everything is holy now.
And Brett, wonderful. And I watched all the work that went into that beauty this morning. So I think, as many of you know, I'm Tara Steele. I'm a staff minister here, and I'm delighted to be speaking with you this morning. It's a day that has a lot of overlaid meanings as we watch the turn of the seasons. It's the autumn equinox, that time when day and night are in balance. It's a time that invites us to explore and reflect on our own balance and harmony, to remember transitions and changes and the cycles of nature in which we live. It's also a new moon tonight, which is an auspicious time for beginnings, which means that all of those lovely plants outside there sharing your bounty, if one of them calls to you, take it home with you and let it begin in your garden again. It's also a time to reflect on our goals, our intentions, and where we stand within ourselves. As we do that inward looking, we do it with compassion and curiosity, not blaming or judging or comparing ourselves with ourselves or others. It's also a time when we begin to move into the darkness of the winter season, though it's not quite here yet. And that's a time that invites us deep within to that fertile space of creativity and possibility. All of that today. And that's within these times. Times that seem to sometimes knock us off our center, our groundedness. Times of wars and climate differences and changes in funding and policies. Polarization beyond anything we've experienced in many, many years. How do we stay present, centered, and grounded in times such as these? As you may have briefly seen in the title slide, theoretically, I'm talking about the elevation of awareness this morning. That doesn't work for me right now. I feel like hunkering down, settling within, reflecting on who I am and what matters to me, because the state of the world has me feeling often like a deer in the headlights, kind of overwhelmed. What? I can't do anything with this. What do I do? And so rather than elevating our awareness today, our awareness, I think that's what we're supposed to be talking about. Obviously, I'm not talking about it. What we're doing this morning is we are going to remember how to deepen our awareness. because there is, as we say often in this teaching, Science of Mind, there is that within us which knows. So we're going to explore coming to that. One of the most important ways that we dive within is simply by listening and getting to know ourselves, asking ourselves questions, including huge ones like, who am I? What's my purpose? But also important ones like, what do I want? What's my heart's yearning? What matters to me? This is a time for those kinds of questions. And even for any of you who are more enlightened than I am, and I suspect that's most of you, the storminess of the world continues. It doesn't go away. The good news is, within those tempests and tumult, there are the seeds of how we move through them with consciousness and awareness, being centered and grounded. So, since I'm a bit of a word nerd, as most of you know, I'm going to begin by talking about what awareness means. I think it's like when a teacher points at the moon and says, look at the moon. Because the teacher knows there's no way they can completely define and capture what the moon is. But each of us looking at the moon has an experience, an impression, a sense of how it impacts us, how we interact with it. And for me, that's the heart of awareness. And there are other elements too, like being present, being open and curious about whatever it is that's happening without prejudging, pre-filtering out what we expect to see, and being with that rather than with what is. You probably have your own senses of what it means to be aware. Sometimes there are sparks of joy and aha and insight. Sometimes, as recently when I went through something with my granddaughter and came to realize how much I adore that child, there are tears of joy and recognition. All of those moments, the red bird singing as Christopher was singing in the song, all of that is awareness, being present in the moment to something wondrous, something to be grateful for, something to recognize. So if any of you are saying, oh, that's great, the ministers have that, some of the practitioners have that, but I'm never aware, you are aware. You're just assuming that it has to look a certain way, and that's not so. The only limit on our awareness, on this unlimited way of being and experiencing, is what we think about it in this creative, imaginative, wild horse that we ride. In preparing for this, in looking at what awareness or consciousness or presence might be, all kinds of questions came up. Is it a quality of the divine? Is it a human way to experience life with a capital L? Is that awareness? Does it arise spontaneously from some source within? Or is it the result of our training and expectations of how we're supposed to be? Is that our awareness? I'm not sure I had answers to those questions, but they got me a little clearer on my experience of awareness. It's not a power of little m mind. It's absolutely not something I can think myself into. It is a way to bridge the divine and the human. In this teaching, we believe we're in this marvelous paradox of divinity and humanity expressing simultaneously. And navigating that takes some awareness as well as some letting go of control, but that's another talk. I also know that awareness, I just made that sentence really wonky. That's all right, you'll see why I'm chuckling. I also know that awareness is not something I know. It's something I experience. Again, it's not a head thing. It's the allness, the something, the transcendence in which I abide. Here's what the founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, has to say about who we are and how we are in the midst of this. We are thinking, willing, knowing, conscious centers of capital L life. We are surrounded by, immersed in, and there is flowing through us a creative something. Call it what you will. And from the Sufi author and teacher Kabir Helminski, the human being is asked to be an active seeker of knowledge, not the passive recipient of dogma. But the knowledge we seek must not only be a quantitative, factual knowledge, but a qualitative, spiritual knowledge as well. The human heart occupies an important place in the anatomy of reality. So, we are not our thoughts. Perhaps this work in human form, and I'm going to get to the big question, so that's so lovely, Tara, but what about the mess in the world? Perhaps our work in this human form is to be aware of life, relishing and savoring its richness and variety, while also aligning with that something more. Ernest Holmes again. The Spirit of God is an undivided and indivisible wholeness. It fits all time with its presence and all space with the activity of its thought. Everyone is an expression of God and a unique expression. All are rooted in the one life. Your endeavor, then, is not so much to find God as it is to realize God's presence and to understand that this presence is always with you. I'm going to skip over another statement by the Sufi writer at the moment. You're noticing that I'm talking a lot about other people's ideas of awareness and not so much about mine. That's actually intentional. As participants in any of my classes know, when they ask me to tell me what the right answer, to tell them what the right answer is, I turn it right back to them and say, "What do you think?" And the reason for that is not that I don't have my own answer. I often have something that I could talk about and pronounce with dogmatic certainty. But I actually recognize that every single one of you in this room, on the screen, wherever you happen to be, each one of you has your core values, your core beliefs, your understandings. And when you try and step outside into my knowing, or Russ's knowing, or Gina's knowing, or Barbara's knowing, or Jack's knowing, you're stepping away from who you are. You're not Jack or Gina or Russ or me. You are you. And that you is amazing, wise, creative, playful, compassionate, all kinds of things. And what gets in the way of that is who you think you are, not who you know yourself to be. So I'm going to now go into the sticky part of this, which actually is and was for me a revelation some time ago. Every struggle, everything that you struggle with, everything that pushes your buttons, you can hold in one of two ways. There's a third that I'll touch on briefly. You can hold it as a horrible, wretched, horrific thing that you just want to go away. The one that I don't want you to do is say, oh, in this teaching we believe that everything is fine, and so that's actually good no matter what I feel like. That is not another option. It's what we often seem to say, but I don't believe it's what we mean. The other option is to acknowledge the anger, the grief, the joy, the sorrow, the confusion, and then ask yourself, what's creating those emotions in me? What values, what beliefs are triggered or are rising up because of what I'm noticing, I'm feeling? There's something here for me to learn. I'm not saying every experience in life is an opportunity to learn, so everything is good. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is every experience in life, when you step back a bit and explore it, tells you something about who you are when you are actually present in it. Not simply telling yourself, it sucks, or, oh, everything's fine, I just know it is, I know God is all there is. I have a little heretical PS to that. Yes, God is all there is, and that includes everything, not just what we label good. So let's take an example of something that bugs me, and that possibly bugs at least a few of the rest of you hearing what I'm talking about. Something, whatever it is, happens in the middle of the day and we're triggered. I'll use the example of global warming. When I hear data on the changes in temperature, the changes in storm patterns, all kinds of other evidence that the world is warmer than it has been, I start to worry. I am afraid for my child and my grandchildren. I'm angry that people aren't doing what they need to be doing, and a whole bunch of other things. If you are someone that gets activated by a discussion of global warming, what feeling arises for you? Maybe an example or two from the room. Powerlessness. Fear. One more. Frustration. Okay, so powerlessness, fear, frustration. What's the belief behind I feel powerless? Okay, lack may be one. What's another one? Fear. How about if I can't do something big, it's not worth doing anything at all? I've had that one. I don't have any power to do anything. I can barely recycle things every week. I don't matter. Okay? That's something that you need to notice about your beliefs and whether they're true or whether those beliefs are examples of what you've come to believe because of family input, because of comparing yourself with the Dalai Lama, because of whatever is triggering that. Deeply ask yourself, is that really true about me? Am I powerless? Don't I matter? And see what bubbles up. And sometimes you'll find something underneath that. At some point in your self-inquiry, you'll find an antidote, whether it's a simple affirmation, an example of a way that you've been that's in contrast to your fearfulness, whatever it is. That inquiry triggered by, oh my God, the world is getting too warm, the ice cap is melting, blah, 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 brings you deeper into yourself. And that's actually the goal of this, not to step out here into where the temperature is rising and everything is a mess, but to come home to knowing yourself, and if you so choose, from that awareness, from those values, stepping more fully into not only your self-awareness, but your presence in the everyday world. That's the invitation of these triggering things. Recently in a webinar, and I couldn't track down for the life of me which one it was, I came across an acronym. She was talking about this sort of triggering and challenges, and she said, when it comes up, ride the Siberian Railroad. Well, yeah, if climate warming is my issue, I guess that would cool me down. She actually used it as an acronym for a way to step back and observe rather than being caught up in the mess. The S of Siberian is for stop. The B in the second syllable of Siberian is breathe. The first R is reflect, and the second R is respond. Let me go through those a little more slowly. First, stop. If you notice you're being triggered, step back and simply go, wow, I am really upset, or I'm really angry, or I'm really afraid, or whatever that feeling is. Just stop and notice it. Then, and she invests huge power in the breath. For 3 breaths, simply breathe consciously. That slows you down, and it also brings you back to your body because you're focusing on something that's going on in your body rather than the swirling in your mind. Once you've done that, and it's also great if you're about to make a phone call that you know will be difficult, or give a talk on a Sunday morning, or bake something you've never made before in your life, just take 3 breaths, not 15 minutes of meditating, 3 breaths to center in your body and tap into that which knows. Then you reflect, once you're centered and somewhat calmer, on what's up? What's causing all of this? And then from that centered, grounded core of who you are, determine if there is something that is yours to do. And it may be, and you really, really need to hear this, those of us who are, if it's not big, it doesn't count. You're simply pausing and reflecting may be enough to make a difference. Just pausing in the midst of your reactivity to breathe and notice and learn may be enough. So, We are a community that has high aspirations included in our global vision. Wonderful aspirations that at times for me seem impossible. But they give us a direction as an organization, and they are a sort of compass for us. In the same way, your getting to know your core values is your compass, your direction, your sorting what you do and what you don't do. Until you know them for yourself, not what your parents said you should do, not what your colleagues who are amazing are doing that you just can't quite do but have to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and especially not what you think you're supposed to do to be the right person. When you let go of all of that and say to yourself, belonging is really important to me. Not just that I belong, but that I'm a presence that welcomes others and accepts them as they are. And so that guides part of who I am and part of my choices. And as you discover those through storms and tempests and through stillness, don't forget them when you're coming to a choice point. How is your choice reflected in your values? Or how are your values reflected in your choice? So you've ridden the Siberian Railroad. Over the next week, I invite you to notice a few times when something sets you off. And I actually invite those of you who are overachievers to not just notice the times that you get upset, but to notice those bursting joy moments, because they also tell you something about who you are and what matters to you. And that's the heart of this. The more you know who you are, the more wide open is your life. Getting to know yourself doesn't make you smaller. It actually elevates that awareness that the title was talking about. But most importantly, it gives you a sense of home, of being who you are without fear or judgment or looking over your shoulder. So I really encourage you to do this, not all the time and not so that you make yourself perfect, because you already are, but just to be more conscious of your perfection. Now, if you want to. If it's a chore, if you're going, oh God, it's Friday and I haven't done that yet, I better do that for Reverend Tara, don't do it. Because the other element of this whole self-inquiry process is it's got to be something that you're doing because it matters to you. Not because anyone on stage or off stage or your neighbor or your great aunt who died 40 years ago, not because any of those folks told you it was something you were supposed to do, but because you want to do it. There's an assumption in that statement, and the assumption is that the yearnings of your heart, of your essence, are always good. That's something I firmly, firmly, firmly believe. So understand that that's the context for knowing what you truly want. And that blossoming will be stunning. So, all of this is not about suddenly stepping into a monastery, sitting on a cushion, or for me, on a chair, and just being in my inner sanctuary 24/7. Part of who we are is spirit in or all of who we are is spirit in human form. That means that we have two elements. Here's what Buddhist Edward S.B. Brown, the famous Tassajara bread book person, says. It is important to work in the outer world and on your inner world. We can work on establishing our ground, finding our feet, finding our bodies, establishing our presence of mind, which is also literally presence of body. Then we look to see if we can find some way to connect our heart with the heart of the world, expressing our goodness and goodwill. You've probably noticed life isn't always clear-cut. It's either this choice or that choice. I feel happy or I feel sad. I'm angry or I'm peaceful. It's often not quite that way. In my exploring this topic, I found an amazing poem by Rosemary Watola Trummer that clearly points to the both and of our aliveness. The title is, For When People Ask. How are you today? Here's her poem. I want a word that means okay and not okay. More than that, a word that means devastated and studded with joy. I want the word that says, I feel it all at once. The heart is not like a songbird singing only one note at a time, more like a Tuvan throat singer able to sing both a drone and simultaneously 2 or 3 harmonics high above it. A sound, the Tuvans say, that gives the impression of wind swirling among rocks. The heart understands swirl, how the churning of opposite feelings weaves through us like an insistent breeze, leads us wordlessly deeper into ourselves, blesses us with paradox, so that we might walk more openly into this world so rife with devastation, this world so ripe with joy. I will close with a reading from the mystic theologian and civil rights activist, Dr. Howard Thurman. That aspiration of his will be our closing prayer. But first, a word from our sponsor. Next Thursday evening, I am facilitating a 4-week class and conversation about deepening awareness, which is the class title, and which is where I got the title that I edited for today. We will share our experiences of mystery, take a flying leap at defining what consciousness is. Spoiler alert, each of us will have our own ideas about consciousness. And perhaps most powerfully, we will be in spiritual practice together. You'll have opportunities to know yourself and the mystery more deeply in a circle of spiritual friends. The class is on Zoom beginning at 6:30 on Thursday evening, September 25th. If you're curious about it, come talk to me in the social hall after the service. And now let us join in this beautiful aspiration of Howard Thurman. I want to be more loving in my heart. It is often easy to have the idea in mind, the plan to be more loving. To see it with my mind and give assent to the thought of being loving, this is crystal clear. But I want to be more loving in my heart. I must feel like loving. I must ease the tension in my heart that ejects the sharp barb, the stinging word. I want to be more loving in my heart, that with unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, I shall be a kind, gracious human being. Thus, those who walk the way with me may find it easier to love, to be gracious because of the love of God which is increasingly expressed in my living. I want to be more loving in my heart. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Tara, for that beautiful message. I invite us all to take a nice deep breath, breathing in and let out a big sigh. We use our breath to help us to transition to our practice of spiritual circulation here at the center. And this community runs on you, all of you. Your volunteering, your financial gifts, and all of the love and regard that you share every single time that you come here on Sunday. So please know we're very grateful because, as Dr. Edward often says, we are all homeowners here, quite literally with this building. So that means that we're the ones who get to maintain it, which is wonderful because it also means that we're the ones who get to make this place exactly what we want it to be. So we're very grateful for everything that you share with this community. And if you choose to give financially today, we have a number of ways that you can give. You can go on our website, cslsr.org/donate, and give online. We also have text to give, and you can send a text message to that phone number, and it'll help you set up your donation method. And then going forward, you just text it a number, and it will automatically apply your donation. And I also wanted to mention, because we haven't mentioned it in a while, we have a program here where we partner with Oliver's called the Oliver's Community Card. And we have pre-filled out forms for that at our info desk where you can fill it out and you'll get a little barcode card so that every time you go through the checkout aisle at Oliver's, you scan your card and then a portion of your grocery sale also comes back to benefit our center. And it's quite a lot of money that we get from that program too. So if you haven't signed up for it and you shop at Oliver's, I encourage you to do that. Finally, we will pass the baskets today. So I invite our ushers to stand and to hold the space while we go into our offering ritual. So I invite you to hold your gift close to your heart and call up that deepened awareness that Reverend Tara was talking about, and let its love and its compassion infuse your gift, and then repeat after me. I bless my gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does incredible work in the world. And so it is. Ushers, please receive the gift.
Love light of the one. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening.
Thank you again for all the gifts that you share. So funny story, our COO, Linda Han, just texted me and said we make about $12,000 a year from the Oliver's Community Card Program. So what if we make it to? It's so easy. Christopher has an example. You just have a little key card there and bring it with you. Yeah, so wonderful. Thank you again for all the gifts that you share with our community. Okay, so you heard from Reverend Tara about her upcoming class this Thursday, and I encourage you to check this class out. And the reason being is I also get triggered by what I see going on in the world often, and I know the thing that has helped me the most with not being reactive to the goings-on of the world is deepening my own relationship with the Spirit within me. And so that's something I know that you can have too, and that's exactly what you're going to get out of her class that's coming up this Thursday. All right, I have another opportunity for you. Discover how you can enter a receptive state, ask powerful questions, and trust the still small voice within. Living with Vision, a new class that's being shared by practitioner Tamira Hume, is going to help you unlock your inner guidance. Because each session includes guided visioning practice, reflection, and supportive discussion to help you to integrate what arises in your everyday choices. So you can start your visioning journey this Saturday, September 27th on Zoom at 1 p.m. Now, for the last couple of weeks, I've been having a lot of fun because I've been collecting gratitude practices, and I'm seeing how many I can get because I'm going to share them all with you in my upcoming workshop this coming Sunday, the 28th, Rewiring Your Mind with Gratitude. And I like using that word rewire because it turns out that gratitude is one of the most effective ways that we can use to retrain our brain to focus on wholeness no matter the circumstances. So I invite you to join me this Sunday on the 28th at 1 p.m. because we're going to spend 2 hours steeped in gratitude. So anybody who doesn't leave feeling like they're floating on air, I'll give you your money back. Okay? Now, best of all, you'll also go home with your very own gratitude journal so that you can continue this practice after the workshop. So I really look forward to seeing you there. Okay, every journey I know has a beginning, and the science of mind is no different. And our upcoming newly redesigned class, Beyond Limits, is your chance to begin your journey with the fundamentals of our teaching. You'll learn how to create affirmations, spiritual mind treatments, meditate, and so much more. And all of this is in a class with your friends. And if you don't have friends at the center yet, trust me, you will make friends in this class. And that's because all of you will be discovering science of mind on that same path together. So join Peggy Weber. You heard that beautiful prayer from her this morning, as well as Lorena Fisher. They're both here in the sanctuary, too, if you have any questions about that class. Their class begins on Zoom on Monday, October 6th at 6 p.m. Okay, I know that creating healthy boundaries is a lot like playing music. We have to learn the right notes and how they work together before we can know what's going to sound harmonious and what's going to sound dissonant. And that's why Dr. Edward is sharing a brand new class called Setting Boundaries. And that starts on Tuesday, October 7th at 6 p.m. And in this class, you're going to learn all about what strong boundaries are and what they are not, and how learning them and bringing them into your life can help you to make beautiful music in all of your relationships. Now, speaking of Peggy Weber and that beautiful prayer, we have a way of praying that Peggy Weber did. We call it spiritual mind treatment, and it has a bit of a formula to it. But here at the center, we don't want it to feel like it's a mystery. So if you've ever wanted to learn to pray like Peggy and all of our practitioners and ministers up here, or if you want to take your spiritual mind treatments to the next level, Dr. Edward has you covered because he has a workshop called Spiritual Mind Treatment for Beginners. And that starts on Sunday, October 12th at 1 p.m. And in that 2-hour workshop, you'll learn the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment, how it works, and all of the ways that it can help you to open up to infinite possibility. So we have education catalogs available at the info desk and on our website that has all of our classes and when they begin. You can sign up on our website. And by the way, we also have scholarships for Beyond Limits. So if you are interested in that class, come talk to me after service, and I am happy to help you get plugged into our scholarship program. So as Reverend Tara mentions, sharing our bounty is today. So you can head outside of the social hall to our sidewalk patio outside, and you will find flowers and plant starts and seeds and fresh produce and so much more, all of which is free for you to take home. So please take home whatever your heart desires. This is part of the generosity that we practice here in our community. And thank you to everyone who has brought all of those beautiful green things to this event. We're really grateful. Finally, each year, our center hosts Congregation Shamrei Torah during the Jewish Holy High Days. So what that means is that on Wednesday, October 1st, which is 2 Wednesdays from now, they're going to be right here in our sanctuary observing Kol Nidre. And because of that, they've generously lent us their building for our Wednesday evening service at 7 p.m. We call this a pulpit swap. That's what we're doing. So I invite you to join myself and Dr. Edward. We're going to be hosting a special service at Congregation Shamrei Torah at 7 p.m. on October 1st. And we will have the address and the information for parking on their website, or on our website, sorry. And next Sunday, there will also be a flyer at the info desk that'll have all this info. So we really look forward to seeing you there. We had a wonderful time last year, and I know it's going to be even better this year. Okay. So thank you so much for being a part of our community. It is time for us to close our service. But before we do, if you're having a challenging time, if you'd like some spiritual support, or you just want one of our practitioners to pray for the highest and best good for whatever awesome thing is going on in your life right now, please take advantage of our after-service prayer. If you're online, we have a link that you'll see that you can go to get a free confidential prayer with one of our online practitioners. And if you're here in the room, head on back to the corner. I think that's Vivian that's sitting over there. Hi, Vivian. At the white table, she will direct you to one of our prayer practitioners who'd be happy to pray for whatever your heart desires. All right, let us all stand as we are able and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it, just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Please know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you're guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly so that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this presence within. And so it is. Thank you so much for being with us, and let's close in song.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, yes, I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only